I would say that my story really started getting interesting when I was 5. I was molested by several cousins for a period of about 7 years. I buried all of that till I was a teenager. And then at 15, I experienced my first rape, been drinking, and someone took advantage of me. Not long after that, I was put on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. I think I was 15, which caused kind of an internal storm in my body. And it tore my body really apart, tore my mind apart, and it broke my spirit. At 18, I was in my high school sociology class, and they were talking about the effects of sexual abuse. And all of these memories came flooding back. I actually got up and ran out of the room. Went to the bathroom and stayed in there for several hours just crying. I didn't know what to do about it. When I finally came out and told my parents, they told me that I should get into counseling. And I did, because I knew it's what everybody expected me to do, but it didn't have any intentions of anything changing. I remember at 6 years old, I had my head in my mom's lap at church, and I heard the pastor talking about how having sex outside of marriage was a sin, and I knew that sinners went to hell. So I think that's about the age I was that I decided that I was going to hell, and there was nothing that anyone could do to change that. It took me a long time to figure out that wasn't true. So I pretty much spent my life according to that. I decided that if someone could take something from me, then I wasn't going to give them the chance to. So amongst drug addiction and alcohol addiction and being addicted to relationships and love and spending money and all of those things, I just decided that I was going to do what I wanted to do, and I didn't really care how anyone else felt about that. I did a lot of really, really hurtful things to a lot of people. I was done with church, and my mom dragged me to the light, and several months after being there, I met a man named Daryl Billings, who saw something in me that no one else saw, or maybe had just taken the time to really tell me. I'm sure my parents had, but they're your parents, so you don't always listen. He looked at me and told me that I had a purpose, and that I had a very unique purpose. And he started explaining to me what my name meant. And that was enough to make me really curious about what it was that I knew I wasn't seeing. And on my 32nd birthday, I walked into church, and I just felt something very different than anything I'd ever felt before. I felt alive, and I felt this odd sense of excited peace that's very hard to explain. I think it's one of the only times I've ever felt that. And God told me to do something, and I was trying to avoid doing it. And when I looked up, the person that I was supposed to walk towards was walking over to me. And he started speaking to me, and I cannot tell you exactly what he said, but whatever it was what I needed to hear in that very moment. And it felt like the Spirit of God literally rushed into me from the front and just sat and dwelled in me. And I felt it almost come out of my back. And when that happened, it was like my legs just went numb and I hit the ground. God revealed so much to me that day in a very short span of time. But what I believe he did was healed my brain. When I left church that day, I was able to stop and clearly make decisions. That's not something that had ever been a reality for me before. He just imparted a whole lot of wisdom and discernment, and I was able to see things very clearly, and he just healed my heart. He just wants to know you. He wants you to know him. He wants to show you who he is so that you can understand who you are, because he is your creator, so you are an extension of him. He wants you to know your purpose so that you don't have to wander around aimlessly saying, why am I here? But you're never going to find that unless you're willing to go to the source and talk to him about who he is. He just wants to know you. I'm Marissa Fort, and this is me.